believers are often faced with the question, if there exists a God who loves us and he's all good, all powerful and all knowing, then why is our world so fucked up?
I'm sorry, but to me this whole idea of God is just a load of crap.
Well, there are two prescribed scapegoats. The first is the nonsensical, contradictory idea of divinely mandated, omnisciently guided free will, which I've talked about in this video here and will surely return to.
Don't call me Shirley.
And of course, the older scapegoat is none other than, sorry, typo, Satan, the devil, Lucifer.
Argument detected. It's the devil's fault.
Yep, this is apparently God's creation which he has ultimate authority over, and yet he has no responsibility for it. It is the way it is because of Satan's power.
Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, everything is absolutely perfect. So what does Satan do? He points them to the one thing they don't have. Fruit from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil.
Come again.
Fruit from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil.
You created the most tempting thing man has ever known, a piece of fruit.
And to this day, he supposedly pulls his strings, leading people away from God.
Satan is a deceiver.
Yeah, look who's fucking talking.
And he uses the same tactics he used in the garden. You'd think by now we'd have caught on.
Ooh, and I thought my jokes were bad.
Satan, the fallen angel turned dark lord of the Sith, is possibly the most glaring problem with this foundational story of the fall of man.
Point 1. Satan, the hole in Christianity's foundations.
You're telling me that an omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient God allowed this fallen angel to corrupt his creation so completely and so early on?
What a load of rubbish!
That such an ultimately powerful and intelligent being wouldn't foresee it. That this could happen right under his nose.
What the hell happened here?
Come on, don't bullshit me.
You're telling me that Adam and Eve originally didn't even know good and evil before eating the fruit of knowledge, but they were supposed to recognize that evil was tempting them.
Come on, that's not fair.
Hell, you're telling me that God didn't want humanity having this forbidden knowledge, that obtaining it would be the worst thing that could happen to them, but he created a fucking fruit that would give them it and placed it in the garden with them.
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
Some of you may say,
but atheist android, Genesis is symbolic. It's not to be taken literally.
abstracting your own history, your entire origin story, as metaphorical, is so evasive and bafflingly self-defeating that it deserves a video of its own. For now, I'll just say, it does not matter. Whether you take Genesis symbolically or literally, Satan corrupting humanity is the foundation of Christianity, and the whole idea is just full of holes and contradictions. Satan has far more power, knowledge, and agency than this early and naive humanity. He's the one who actively betrays God and consciously corrupts his creation. But rather than get rid of the betrayer and fix his creation, he blames humanity.
Oh, come on! God was having a hissy fit. Like God's going, look what they've done. No, they're treating me like a cunt. I'm going to treat them like a cunt.
The manipulated, who I cannot stress enough, had been created innocent and with no fucking concept of evil, to the point where they didn't yet even realize they were naked, take responsibility for not recognizing that this temptation was evil.
What?
While the manipulator is still free to manipulate to this very day.
That is not fair.
This is the foundation of your moral framework?
Hey, that's fucked up.
Oh, it gets worse. The other defense of Satan's power over humanity that Christians have, besides dismissing their own origin story as metaphorical, is, oh no, God wasn't mistaken or deceived. He can't be. He's God. It was all part of his divine plan.
What?
So, wait a minute. Satan is this rebellious, manipulative enemy of God who tempted humanity into sin behind God's back. But at the same time, he and all the people he tempts into hell are part of God's divine plan to test and ultimately redeem humanity. You know, from the fall which God himself planned in the first place.
What are you talking about?
Satan was the orchestrator of humanity's fall, but he himself is orchestrated by God's plan. And so God's plan only requires humanity redeem ourselves because God planned for Satan to tempt humanity into sin. Having trouble making sense of this? That's because it makes no fucking sense. Satan is either this powerful trickster who easily outplayed God himself and effectively stole his creation, or he's just another pawn in an omniscient, all-knowing creator's divine plan. He can't be both. He can't be both a true enemy and controlled opposition. The first option is just laughable and exposes clearly that this is just mythology, an inconsistent fictional story, plain and simple. But the second option may be even more damaging, because it highlights how fundamentally flawed and circular the foundation of the Christian worldview is. We need to be redeemed because we're fallen in the eyes of God, but we're fallen by God's design.
It is not logical.
If God created humanity to fall, then how is it actually a fall at all? Everything is within God's plan. And yet, his creation is fallen and needs redemption.
With all due respect, what the fuck?
Well, this total mindfuck brings us to your next problem.
What would that be?
The idea of Satan being responsible for sin and evil and temptation and suffering hits the same wall as the idea of free will being the problem. It just ain't compatible with the existence and authority of an omniscient, limitlessly powerful creator.
Point 2. God's omniscience and responsibility.
The continued existence and interference of God's arch-nemesis leaves only two possibilities. 1. God is not capable of stopping him. Or 2. God is capable of stopping him, but just chooses not to. Since God is omnipotent and omniscient, we can rule out option 1, which only leaves that Satan's continued dastardly deeds and heinous works must be consciously allowed by God. Anything you want to credit to Satan is ultimately God's choice. He has the power to stop his own fallen angel from corrupting his creation and leading people astray, but he chooses not to. This is, according to you, God's creation, not Satan's. And since he's omnipotent and omniscient, it can only play out the way God decides. Every single soul that Satan supposedly manipulated, tricked, or tempted into hell can only have happened under God's watch and can only have happened in the first place because God refuses to dispose of Satan until the end times when it's already too late anyway. I mean, are you seriously claiming that God has ultimate authority over the world, but has no responsibility for the works of Satan?
Bullshit.
We're supposed to believe that God will endlessly and sadistically punish those who merely fail to believe the right thing, even if we lead good, moral lives and never harm another person, but that he cannot or will not do anything about the single evil being who is deliberately responsible for all this sin and blasphemy and disbelief in the first place.
What a load of shit.
Within your own worldview, an all-knowing, all-powerful, omnipresent God can only have full control and authority at all times. In a universe created, guided, and judged by an all-knowing, all-powerful creator who is everywhere at all times and knew everything from the moment he existed, which according to you is forever, there can only be his will. This is why blaming free will for sin and suffering and disease and war and hell does not work. And this is why blaming Satan doesn't fly either, because in such a universe, Satan could only follow the script God set out for him at the beginning of creation. Your God, by definition, chose a universe where Satan is free to manipulate the beings he created to corrupt the will and nature he chose to allow them. and he chose that an eternity in hell would be the result for most of the people in this system of his creation. Satan may be the main villain of your story, but God is the writer, director, and producer, and yet he is the one who can never have any responsibility for anything.
Because God moves in mysterious ways. That is the theological equivalent of going, look over there. Ooh.
This is a core failure of the Christian worldview. God is the most powerful being in the universe, the ultimate intelligence, the omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent creator and designer of all things. And yet, he is responsible for none of it. Satan and his works and the hell that results from them are maybe the single most egregious example of this. If you fall to Satan and end up in hell, the one being who can take no responsibility is the creator of Satan and hell.
What a load of crap.
I can only end this video by saying, thank fuck, none of this is true. I am the Atheist Android. Thank you for watching.